What's going on, boys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we got some exciting things going down on the Civic. It is not going to need an inspection. Therefore, all that stuff we were going to do to make this thing lame to pass doesn't have to be done anymore, so we can focus up on other things such as getting this turboed with this engine we have sitting in the corner. This is our B18B with a built head. If you haven't seen that video, there should be a card up here. I did a video finding out that my B18B that I bought in this car over 5 years ago. That's right, I bought this EG with that B18 in it, with a blown up transmission and a bad throwout bearing, bad input shaft, the whole nine. This car originally came with that engine, and I never knew that that engine had a built head. When I took it out and further looked into it, it was clear to see that someone had been boosting it. The block shaved down for an eBay turbo kit to have the turbo housing sit there. Has head studs, and I think it has valve springs, retainers, valves, all that as well. So regardless, even if it doesn't have a built head, it's studded and more ready for boost than that 16 is. So we need to start getting this car ready to get that engine in it again so we can boost. First and foremost, this oil pan is putrid, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and clean this all up. We need to clean this thing up a fair bit, so you know what they say, gotta lube her up before you fuck her with 15 pounds of boost. Alright boys, so our oil pan is for the most part clean. I'm gonna go ahead, take it and let it fully dry just so we know we're not gonna be getting anything in our engine. I'm just gonna leave it here for a few days, and we're gonna come back for round 2. Then I can order my Innovate engine mount, take the clutch off the B16 and everything, put it on this, take this, clean it up, drop it, put it in that bay, make sure it fires up, everything runs good, and then we can finish buying the parts for the turbo kit. So this whole setup here can hopefully run boost by gear and make up to about 15 pounds of boost with the stock bottom end, studded, semi-built head, and this thing should be mean, making mid 300 wheel horsepower on this setup. Now, if that excites you guys in any way, make sure to stay tuned. This video is not over yet. We got to come back for day 2. This is where we're leaving it for now, and I'll see you then. Peace. Okay boys, day 2 of this motor at the shop. We just got the oil pan nice and clean so we can weld a bung on it somewhere on the side. I still need to order that. This valve cover needs to get paint stripped and redone. Other than that, this engine is really ready to go. It's a good, healthy engine. Got a couple fire extinguishers and the classic. You need some of this at the shop. The Dawn soap. This will get all the grease, all the oil off everything. You need some of that at the shop. That's what we were missing last time when we were scrubbing down the oil pan. Another thing we got today is we have the cluster back for the Civic. Still missing some lights. I did order those and they are still not in. I don't really want to put the cluster back in until that's in. We had ripped the cluster out to figure out why the SRS and everything was doing what it's doing, and in the process I broke the shroud. Right about where it sits there, they're super flimsy and I freaking snapped it. So I don't really want to put it back in and do all that until I get the bulbs in, because I really don't want to take this cluster out again. An issue we're running into is the speedo only works whenever it wants to. Could be the vehicle speed sensor, but honestly I doubt it. I can pull mine today, check it, see if it's dirty. Have the same issue with this engine in it, and I did replace the speed sensor and not much changed. So there's that. So first thing I'm going to start with here is I'm going to pull this engine out, and I'm going to take the rest of this plastic off and see what we got as far as timing components go, and see how everything inside here is looking. There is pins up here to lock the cams in place, and then you can have the crank at the right spot as well. I kind of want a fluid damper, a new pulley, just because this one's a little bit old and tired. Super hard to see the markings on it as well, but they are there. Right there is where you want it to be. You want that lined up, and then you want both of these dashes lined up there. And another way you can do it is to put some pins in here to hold the cams in place while you get that whole ordeal done. We went with the Continental Black Series timing belt kit for this motor. I just want to make sure everything's good before we go ahead and retime it. I also might want to do some adjustable cam gears because this will be left exposed and I want it to look nice. So I'm going to loosen this engine mount here, the timing side engine mount. Loosen the tensioner for the alternator, take this belt off, take this plastic off, and just see what we're working with inside of this engine's timing compartment. And make sure, boys, you're keeping all your bolts in the proper place, so you're not questioning where things go when you have to put them back. I learned something pretty cool actually too. If you have threads that are corroded like this, you can actually put them in wire snips very loosely to clean off the threads, and just back the bolt through it. Cleans up the threads. Just like that. You can clearly see what's been cleaned already. So I'm going to do this and then reinstall this bolt. Next thing we have to tackle on the list is this alternator bracket. As you can tell, it is quite dirty and it's just 1, 2, 3 bolts. So we're going to take this off so we can properly clean it. I'm seeing, so this is stuck just in the crud. That's a fuel injector filter, something like that. But let's get this off. Okay, now that the alternator bracket's off, we can clearly see how gunky it was in there. Everything right here, there must have been some sort of oil leak or something at one point in time, because everything here is just absolutely disgusting. I don't really want to clean anything or go too in depth with cleaning right now until the engine's sealed, because the bottom end is wide open and so is the top end. So today I'm just going through taking stuff off. Hopefully I can get a parts washer, because stuff like this is just absolutely disgusting. Like, it's so crud filled, you don't even want to touch it, you don't even want to deal with it. A parts washer would definitely be a nice addition, because building old oily engines sucks. So much brake clean, so much soap, so much scrubbing, and it's still always a little bit oily. Ready? So y'all remember the Dawn commercial with all the oiled up ducks, penguin stuff, they're cleaning them, coming out spotless? Well, I'm giving it a go on the parts, and we'll really put this to the test, because this shit is disgusting. I'll get a glamour shot of the Dawn. Non-sponsored, but you can sponsor me, Dawn, if this works. If it doesn't, I don't want it. It's looking somewhat promising so far. I can feel it melting off my hands. Yo, this is better than brake clean. Not sponsored, but low-key should be. I mean, look at my hands. That's pretty damn clean. A couple passes with Dawn, then you don't have to get stoned on brake clean. If you know, you know. Get some Dawn for the shop. And boys, this is exactly why you get Dawn dish soap and not brake clean to clean parts. Look how spotless this came out, man. Dawn dish soap seriously is the destroyer of oil. This thing came out so clean. Like, my hands are in it, my hands are on it, they're all around it. Clean. This thing has seriously never been cleaner in its life than it did when it rolled off the factory. If you don't have Dawn dish soap and you're building stuff, get some Dawn dish soap. This is unreal. And as far as this alternator goes, I might just go ahead and get a new one, because if you can't tell, this thing has seen some wear and tear over the years. And if you take a listen to it, it is most definitely a little bit noisy in there. It still works and it still was good, but I honestly might just bite the bullet and get a new one. You can't really wash an alternator in Dawn dish soap, and this one has definitely seen better days. So I might just go ahead and get a new alternator. Like I said though, we're not going to be cleaning this off the block until the engine is sealed, but I can't seal it till I get my oil lines and bung in, and we can weld on a bung right here once we know what size drain line we're going to go for. Next step, I'd like to take off this plastic timing cover and see what we have behind it. That's so dumb, Honda. You actually need to take the crank pulley off to get this rest of the timing cover off. That sucks, dude. Well, boys, I'm busting out Big Bertha, and if this can't do it, I'm just gonna go buy a damn Milwaukee half-inch impact that does 1,400 foot-pounds of torque. And if that still doesn't do it, then I don't know what to do. Well, that was the easiest crank pulley removal ever. Now it's down to if I can get this out or not. Wow, that bolt came out way easier than I anticipated. I might need a crank pulley puller though. There is that windage key in there, but oh wow, this is coming right off. And this is what you never want to lose. If you guys are working on engines, anything timing or crank, this little key right here is called the windage key. And basically what it does is it keeps the crank pulley where the crank pulley needs to be. So you can see right there that there's that little slit and there's teeth in here, right? Teeth and that slit. So this key goes right into that slit right there, and that goes right into this little slit right there on the engine. The next thing I want to attack is these two bolts to get this post mount off so we can get it out of the freaking way, and then we can take off the last bolt holding the timing cover on and see what we need to see. Okay, so here we have our timing components. Down here is the oil pump. I might replace that just because we're already here, and I should probably do a front main seal on this. So we might attack that as well. But I do have my new water pump and the belt as well as the tensioner. So the tensioner has a spring on this side to, you know, pull tension. So there's the spring right there to hold tension on the tensioner. So this whole system is the tensioner. Then you have your belt, your cam sprockets, your oil pump, and your water pump right there. So this kit includes a belt, a tensioner, a spring, and a water pump. Like I said though, I might do an oil pump just while I'm here, and then I can get to the front main seal and do that as well. This timing belt is fairly worn, as you can see here, but nonetheless, we have everything to replace this. And now that this cover is gone, we have the last bolt revealed for this post mount. Just like that, our post mount is off. Okay boys, one last thing I'm going to take off before we finish up disassembly here. This is for power, or this is for either power steering and AC stuff, all the bracketry for that. I'm just going to go ahead and take these off right now as well, just so they're off the engine. They're really not needed. I might leave this one because it's a good ground location, but for now, I'm just going to zip them off. Everything that we don't need is torn down. Everything that we're replacing is on the table. Engine is quite literally stripped down. No valve cover, no oil pan, no alternator, full timing exposed, no crank. Thing is ready to be built. Now, if this entices you guys at all, go ahead, hit that subscribe button right now, and you might as well hit the bell right beside it so you know when we upload next. Right now, uploads are a little bit slow. It is winter. I don't have a ton of stuff coming in. Work and life is really busy, but I'm uploading as much as I can for you guys. So if any of this entices you, please go ahead right now and hit the subscribe button. And until next time, boys, when we're actually retiming this thing and hopefully have a new oil pump and everything, we can get this thing put back together and start pulling the B16 that's sitting in the car right now and get this build underway. Till next time, boys, comment, like, subscribe. Catch you in the next one. Peace.